Hi guys, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to tell you everything you will ever need to know about grant tests. Now grant tests are something that you will see the faculty reiterate the importance of all the time, and I couldn't agree more. So let's dive straight into it this time. The first thing we are going to discuss is what is the right time to start giving grant tests. Is it after you finish reading all 19 subjects? Is it after you finish revising all 19 subjects? Or is it before you even start your preparation? Well, the correct answer to the question, is that the right time to give a grand test, was yesterday. It is never too early to start giving your grand tests. It is very easy to wonder that what is the point of giving a grand test which has 300 questions on topics that you haven't even studied yet. You haven't even finished all 19 subjects, so why should you give a test that has the entire syllabus in it? But there are many reasons why you must start giving your grand tests early. I have said this before, that your performance in the NEET does not depend on how many questions you know the answers to, but how many questions can you guess correctly. Once you mark a correct answer, the computer does not care whether you've guessed it or you actually know the answer. So the more grand tests you give, the better you get at eliminating your options and guessing at answers, and that's what ultimately matters. Another reason why you should give your grand tests early has something to do with a doubt that many of you have been asking me a lot recently. And that is that, sir, whenever I sit down to add extra points from the question bank to my notes, I don't understand where to stop. The explanation is too big and I don't understand which parts I should write in it and which parts I should leave out. Now, as you give more and more grand tests, you will see more and more questions and you will realize what are the potential MCQs in any given paragraph. Then be it your explanation of a question or be it in your notes. Don't add something from the Q bank to your notes that is so difficult and factual that even after you add it to your notes, you are probably going to skip over it when you come across it in your revisions. If you do encounter such a point, then just bookmark that option and move on. If at all that was an important topic that you missed out, then inevitably it will be asked in one of the other grand tests later on, and then once you realize that it is actually important, you can then add it to your notes. At the same time, don't add something that's too easy to be ever asked in the NEET. But for you to get that judgment of what is too easy to be ever asked in the NEET, you need to have a general idea of what is the level of difficulty of questions that is usually asked. And that judgment will develop when you give more and more grand tests and start giving your grand tests early. So if you still haven't given a grand test, then please give one tomorrow. And if you have been giving grand tests regularly, then that's great. There's only one point I need you to keep in mind, and that is that every now and then try to change the platform on which you give your grand test. Because if you keep giving your grand test on the same platform, then slowly you start getting better at guessing the right answers within that platform. So when you suddenly shift your platform, your score is bound to drop and it will bring you back to the ground. But more importantly, when you sit in the NEET and the exam does not feel like any of the mock tests you have ever given before, then you won't feel very surprised and you will be prepared for it. Next, let us talk about what is the frequency with which you should give your grand tests. Now, I have actually covered this before in a previous video, but I'll say it again. While you're finishing your first reading, that could be 3 or 4 or 5 months depending on how long you take, you have to give a minimum of one grand test every month. After you have finished your first reading and you're starting with your revision, you have to ramp it up to one grand test every alternate week. This way you will have 2 weeks between every grand test. If at all a damn CBT happens to fall on one of these days, then you can actually count that as your grand test and you don't need to give a grand test that weekend. And then whenever you're comfortable, but definitely by late November, you should start giving grand tests one every week. By late September, I had actually finished one reading as well as two revisions of the syllabus. And I was about to start my third revision. But that's when I noticed from my experience of having given so many grand tests till then, that there are some subjects that I'm actually pretty good at. And it just wasn't feeling right to give those subjects an entire additional revision. It was feeling like a waste of time. So I decided to revisit my strategy of trying to finish 6 readings of all 19 subjects, and I divided the subjects into subjects that I was good at and the subjects that I was not so confident at. So let us say I gave a grand test yesterday and now I have 2 weeks left for the next grand test. So what I would do in the initial 3 or 4 days is I would revise only the weak topics from these subjects that I was good at. The review of my grand test that I just gave yesterday would tell me what are my weak topics in the subjects that I'm already good at, and only those topics from those subjects I would do in the initial 3 or 4 days. With the remaining 10 or 12 days, I would select 1 or 2 subjects from this side of the list which I was not so good at and give that subject an entire additional reading. If you're going to follow this, then preferably choose your weakest subject from this side of the list. Gradually what will happen is that subjects on this side of the list will slowly migrate to this side of the list and you'll get better at more and more subjects. But there will also come a time when you will realize that a subject that you were once very good at has now faded a little and is not giving you as many marks as it once used to. That is the time when you can shift that subject from this side of the list to this side of the list and give it an additional reading. This additional reading is going to be very fast because all the weak and difficult topics in that subject you have already revised multiple times before, and the remaining topics are actually easy, just that you have not read them in a long time, and that's why they are not fetching you the kind of marks that they used to. This way I was able to optimize my revisions and not spend too much time revising unnecessarily the stuff that I was already good at. From our experience during the MBBS days, we know that there are certain topics in the syllabus which no matter how many times you read is never enough. So by that same logic, there can never be an arbitrary number of revisions that you must do before the NEET and you will get a great rank and a great score. Every topic is going to require different number of readings and different number of revisions. Therefore, even though I started with the aim of doing 6 revisions for the entire syllabus, I actually ended up reading some topics 10 times, some topics 6 times, and some topics even less than 6 times, because that was all that was required to remember them for the year. I think I've spoken enough now on this topic, and I really hope you guys have understood it. So we'll move on to the next topic, which is how to actually give the grand test. Now the first thing that I want you to know is that the day you give your grand test should be set aside as your grand test day. I would even go as far as saying don't even study on that day, because the experience of giving a grand test is a very exhausting one, and at least if you have made a rule to yourself that I will not study on the day that I'm going to give a grand test, you will have something to look forward to for that day. Also keep in mind that the day you set aside for your grand test is not included in your schedule. So let's say you have started doing surgery for which you have dedicated 7 days, but there's also a grand test that you have to give in between. That does not mean you now have only 6 days to complete surgery. You have to complete surgery in your 7 days and then give your grand test on an additional day. These days get added to your schedule, and that is completely okay. Now ideally you should be giving your grand tests in the NEET times, that is 3 o'clock to 7:30. Then you can take a break and review your grand test at night. The morning you can utilize for going through your 20th notebook. If you don't know what a 20th notebook is, then there is a video on YouTube by Dr. Rohan Khandelwal sir on it, or I may make a video on the 20th notebook. Now this schedule that I told you is kind of ideal, but if it does not work for you, then you can follow whatever schedule works for you. Me personally, I have found that my most productive hours are from the time I wake up till lunchtime. So what I would do on grand test days would be to wake up early, finish reading my 20th notebook early in the morning, and then finish giving my grand test also before lunchtime. So after I get my lunch break, I would have the rest of the day to review the grand test. In my opinion, it is very important to review the grand test on the same day that you give it, because that is when you remember why you marked the answers that you marked, and that is what actually helps you growing. And that is why I'm not actually in favor of giving grand tests live, because by the time the result comes out in a few days, you have already forgotten why you marked whatever you marked. The predicted rank that you get by giving an expired GT is not as good as the rank that you would get in your live GT. But that's okay, because giving a GT live only because it gives you a better rank is running after false sense of security. Don't fret over your grand test marks. At the end of the day, it is just another test whose score and rank is not going to ultimately matter. Many people believe that the purpose of a grand test is to provide you with a score and a rank with which you can assess how well you have prepared for the exam. But that is not the main purpose of a grand test. The main purpose of a grand test is to be a feedback mechanism for you. It is a tool of self-assessment so that you can understand what your weak topics are and nothing more. That is what is the purpose of a grand test for you. Anyway, let's come to the points that you must remember while you're actually sitting in front of the computer and giving the grand test. So irrespective of your stage of preparation, everyone is bound to encounter such questions that they don't know the answers to. Now whenever you encounter such a question, it is very easy to think that since it is from a topic that you have not yet studied, I'll just skip over it for now, and when I study that topic, I'll be able to answer it anyway. But when you sit down to review that GT, you will find that out of these questions, there will be at least 15 to 20 questions that you could have easily gotten correct had you just sat down, looked at that question and tried to apply a little bit more logic. These are the questions that you do not have to miss out on. Even if the question is from a foreign topic, read the question again, look at the options again, and at least try to eliminate one option. Even if you can eliminate one option, you better your chances of getting the answer correct. And if you can eliminate 2 options, then you have to mark one of the options even in the NEET. If you find that you're finishing your grand test before the 2-hour mark, then you're not giving 100% to each and every question you're encountering. And if you get into this habit, then it will cost you. So I hope that you remember all the points that I've said about how to give a GT. Now we'll finally come to our topic of how to review a grand test that you have just given. Now the first and very important point that you have to keep in mind is do not review your grand test from question number 1 to question number 300. review your grand tests subject wise. And if you haven't completed your portion yet, then start with the subjects that you have read and go through both the correct as well as the wrong answers. The correct answers you can actually simply brush through, but for the wrong answers you have to pause and reflect why you got it answer wrong. Is it because you have not read the topic? Or is it because you have actually read the topic but have forgotten it? Or is it because it is a silly mistake? The more you capture silly mistakes, the lesser you will make them in subsequent tests. But I'll give you a fair warning, silly mistakes are extremely hard to completely eliminate. Now, if you have a time crunch, then it is okay to review only your wrong answers, but it is also very important to review your right answers because you need to understand how good you are getting at guessing the answers. You have to verify whether the logic that you used while guessing an answer that you guessed correctly, was it the same logic that the examiner was using, or was the logic completely wrong? The number of right answers that you will get in a grand test will gradually improve but may plateau at one point. I would say don't run after an X number of correct answers that you are trying to get, because the number of answers that you get correct will vary from test to test depending on how difficult the examiner decides to set that paper. If the paper is difficult, then everyone will score lower, and if it is an easy paper, then everyone will score higher. A more reliable indicator of your progress and preparation is the percentile. If you want to plot one thing in your grand test, then you must plot the percentile. Initially, if you are below 85 percentile, then keep that as your target to cross that 85 percentile barrier. If you are floating between the 85 and 95 percentile range, then you are actually doing well. But keep in mind that the ultimate target is to actually cross that 95 percentile. Now, there is one very small doubt that I want to clear over here. You don't actually need to add any extra points on the grand test to your notes, because majority of the questions in your grand test are going to come from whatever is already written in your notes. And even if a point is new, it is not actually worth opening that subject, looking for a topic within that subject and then adding it over there, because your priority for this day is to actually review all 300 questions. If you spend time adding stuff to your notes and it affects the review of all the 19 subjects, then that would be very bad. If at all you find a point really interesting and you want to add it to your notes, then you can go ahead with that, but these points should not be more than 4 or 5. So guys, that has to be the end of part 1 of the video, but stay tuned for the part 2 of the video because there is an extremely important point that I'm going to discuss in it.